Dads, what's the funniest way your son has ever wasted your money? My 11-year-old son, Lucas, had been acting weird for weeks. He started wearing sunglasses indoors. He carried around a spiral notebook and wrote in it like he was tracking stock prices. And every time I asked what he was doing, he just muttered, business. Now, Lucas isn't exactly subtle. When random $3 and $5 charges started hitting my credit card, I assumed it was Roblox skins or gum. Then our neighbor, Mrs. Dalton, casually mentioned that Lucas had been haunting garage sales every Saturday morning. She said he showed up with a clipboard, a wad of singles, and the confidence of a man who just flipped a house on HGTV. That should have been my warning. Instead, I got home one afternoon and discovered our garage looked like a cursed thrift store. Broken snow globes leaking glitter water, VHS workout tapes featuring women in neon leotards, a bread maker so rusted it looked like it had survived the Great Depression. I confronted Lucas, and he adjusted his sunglasses and said, Dad, this is inventory. You wouldn't understand the vintage market. Excuse me? The vintage market? My kid had turned my credit card into seed funding for what looked like a hoarder's episode of reality TV. But Lucas wasn't done. He had spreadsheets on his school iPad with itemized descriptions, not just labels, stories. The rusty birdcage was a decorative animal sanctuary with authentic patina. The broken snow globe was a rare 1990s collectible with natural distressing. The VHS tapes were retro fitness memorabilia from the golden age of aerobics. I thought it was hilarious until Lucas proudly announced he'd spent $60 of my money renting a booth at the weekend flea market. I showed up expecting tears, humiliation, maybe a life lesson about wasting money. Instead, I found my son running the most chaotic but effective sales pitch I've ever seen. His booth looked like a museum exhibit curated by a raccoon. The items were neatly arranged, price tags handwritten, and Lucas was standing there in a clip-on tie greeting customers like he was CEO of Trash Inc. And somehow, people were buying it. A woman picked up the birdcage and whispered, "This would look amazing in my shabby chic garden." Lucas nodded like a seasoned salesman and started talking about patina development and authentic weathering. Another man bought 3 VHS tapes after Lucas described them as vintage motivational media. The kicker? Lucas's booth was directly across from Mrs. Dalton, the same neighbor who sold him all this junk in the first place. She sat there watching families pay $40 for the broken snow globe she couldn't even give away. At one point, she walked over to me, doubled over laughing, and said, "That kid's been my best customer for weeks. I tried to throw that thing in the trash. He begged me to take $2 for it." Lucas spotted me and waved me over like he was closing $1 million deal. He shoved a stack of 20s into my hand and broke down his profit margins like he was pitching on Shark Tank. He'd spent $43 total. He'd already cleared over 200. By the end of the day, Lucas was strutting around like a Wall Street broker. He told me he planned to expand operations into vintage electronics next weekend. Mrs. Dalton invited him to shop her garage sales anytime, since apparently he was the only person alive who saw value in broken snow globes and toaster corpses. I should have grounded him. I should have cut up my credit card. Instead, I handed him back his profits and told him to keep going. Because if my kid can convince strangers to pay $75 for a rusted birdcage, maybe he's not wasting my money. Maybe he's just giving me early retirement.